What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Party on Broad. Today, we are reacting to the Eagles free agency, the top news, what we expect. We're going to talk some of our top targets remaining. Also, we're going to talk top breakout stars of 2025. Should we trade Dallas Goedert or not? Joining us, Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. What's up, Ryan?
Not much. Always love the first unofficially official legal tampering oxymoron, whatever you want to call it, day, which might be the dumbest thing I think of ever in sports. Just call it free agency and let them start. Like, what are we doing? Like how am I at 10 o'clock this morning getting reports of this guy and that guy going to visit these teams? How can that happen? You can't talk to them. So how are they going to those teams? They just blindly showing up?
Well, guys that were released, you can. Guys that were released can do that.
That's different. That's different.
We got Michael in the house. I'm glad we traded Pickett. We're going to start off with that very, very shortly. Also joining us, Rob Langy at Philly_Madness. What's up, Rob?
You know, this morning, gentlemen, I said, hey, let's do a ranking of available free agents, and I sent you a list. And I'm pretty sure within 3 hours, that list was completely evaporated. And not one went to the Eagles. Not one. But that's, look, we were told to be patient. The big names are no surprise whatsoever. I might be a little bit more surprised by some of the lesser names that are not back, which we'll talk about. But listen, I was not paying. Well, we'll talk about the Sweat and Williams contract, but Jesus, the bags they got, good for them, man. I wish them the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump into this thing. Instead of like doing an in-depth analysis of all these moves, let's just do a 3 words or less reaction to the first move. The Eagles trading Kenny Pickett to the Browns for a 5th-round pick and quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Rob.
Player and pick. I'm stunned. This team was able to not only get a draft pick, but a player as well. Now you don't have to worry about who the 3rd-string quarterback is. You have him in Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Finally, Tanner McKee can be the number 2 guy. I know that makes Ryan happy since he rooted against him all season and hoped he sucked. Look, they got something for Kenny Pickett. They were able to clear about $2.5 million in cap space. Not really sure what for right now. They don't seem like they want to use any, but I'm sure they will at some point. So good move by the Birds.
Ryan.
Sad. Pickett gone.
Really? Oh,
now listen, I was obviously a lot higher on Pickett than anybody in the Philadelphia area. But listen, I'll say this: they got their pick back. They got a nice young quarterback that I was actually a really big fan of coming out in the draft a few years ago out of UCLA. And he gets to join in the quarterback factory. So listen, now your boy Tanner McKee has to step up, and let's hope all of the I won't say anything inappropriate, but let's say praising of him turns out well.
Yeah, that's my 3 words or less. McKee QB2 season, like that was the takeaway during the preseason. QB2 can be 1 word, right?
No, I don't think so. I think that's 4 words.
QB2 is like QB2, no spaces in between.
I think I'm not at
all. You're
the
goddamn teacher. You should be the one.
Not at all. I am not at all surprised that you are trying to slant the rules as you did this all season on post game with 3 words or less. So that's fine. Do what you got to do.
Yeah. Listen, Dives is gonna Dives.
And I have watched 0 Dorian Thompson-Robinson in the NFL, but during the draft process, I was happy about that. I remember sitting here months and months and months ago saying I wish we had kind of a Jalen Hurts clone to kind of as a backup, and I think we got that. So I'm excited to see how he grows. I know he has some bad tape out there from Cleveland, but that's where quarterbacks go to die, man. That's the truth. And I'm excited to see him in a good system. There it is. All right. Let's hit to the next one. Next news of the day. Eagles, no. Milton Williams to the New England Patriots on a 4-year deal. $104 million. What's that, like 26 million? Something like that. Rob.
Go get paid. That's my 3 words. My God. 26 million per year is the annual average value. You're talking, what it was, I forget, 30 something guaranteed, or was it 50 something guaranteed? I forget what the guarantee
was. 50 something.
But good for him, man. I look, what Milton Williams did for this team while he was here was excellent. It couldn't have been better. But the Eagles can't pay that money to a defensive tackle when they're about to make Jalen Carter the highest paid defensive player in the league next year. And I'll be honest with you, and you're going to hear this theme from me a lot tonight. Can Milton Williams do this without Jalen Carter next to him? I mean, he's getting paid off of what he did with maybe one of the best defensive tackles in the game next to him. I think he's a very good player. I think he could be successful, but no way in hell should the Eagles have ever even thought about paying him $26 million a year. So, I mean, I'm happy for him. I wish him the best, but there was no reason to even think about him coming back here. He never was.
The guys he'll be playing with on that 3-4 defense, Jaquelin Roy and Kyraius Tonga.
Was Jaquelin Roy the brother they didn't talk about in Succession of the Roy family?
I was going to say Jaquelin was still in class for the substitute teacher next to A.A. Ron.
A.A. Ron.
Jaquelin.
All right. Ryan, what's your 3 words of love?
What a friggin' bag. I mean, this guy, is one word.
Words? No.
W-A-T-T-A. What
That's not a word. That's not a word.
What a burger. What a friggin' bag.
Just cheating 3 words or less. It's unreal.
Listen, if Dimes is going to cheat, so am I. Listen, regardless, what a bag, then. I just like to throw in curse words. I didn't think he was going to get this much money. There was no way in hell we were paying this. I don't even think we would have paid half that. He's going to a awful defense over in New England. And listen, a lot of times, when people look at our show, that Rob, they look at you as the Milton Williams playing next to the great Jalen Carter or the great, Brandon Graham that's Dibes. So
Dibes is old and retiring.
Yeah, but basically he's yeah. I don't know why that needed to happen, but some say, like you said, can he play without Jalen Carter? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
We'll find out. All
right, let's go to the next one. Josh Sweat reportedly agreed with the Cardinals on a 4-year deal worth $76+ million. Adios. What about you, Rob?
Remember the ghost. That's my 3 words. Remember the ghost. What does that mean? Well, there were multiple times over the last 2 years where for a stretch of weeks, Josh Sweat was a ghost on the field. It was like a disappearing act. It was like he wasn't there. So, listen, I've said this all along, and people are going to say, oh, you're saying this because he's gone. Josh Sweat was great in the Super Bowl. But I'm not paying a guy who disappears for stretches the way he has over the last 2 years. I'm just not doing it. No, I'm just not doing it. Okay? Remember the ghost, Marshawn. The ghost.
He went 5 games with 0 sacks.
He's extremely inconsistent. I'm fine with him going. I know that they need pass rushers. I get it. But there's no way I was paying him that type of money for a guy that disappears a lot. He had a great Super Bowl. Don't misunderstand me. But, who's to say the next man up can't do that?
Pumpman says, none of these moves faze me. I'm on to the draft. Josh Sweat isn't consistent. We will draft an edge and D tackle. Absolutely. Hassan Reddick, 1 year to the Bucks, like 10-ish million, 11 million, something
I
like
thought
that.
it was 14, wasn't it?
Was it 14?
Yeah. Something ridiculous.
Remember the ghosts. What about you, Ryan?
My next shirt.
Yeah. Right, that you won't be wearing months later again. See you later, bro. Like, Sweat.
That's 4 words.
We suck at this game.
Yeah, we really do.
Jesus.
All right, fine. Later, bro.
All right, cool.
All right, let's go to the next one. Isaiah Rodgers to the Vikings on a 2-year deal worth $15 million. These next two, including this one, kind of stung a little bit. This was a low-key priority for the Philadelphia Eagles, especially the way the draft is set up and the way they're going to kind of, I think, maneuver there between days 1 and 2. I would have liked them to see bring them in a corner to add depth there, and we'll talk about Keely Ringo and that stuff in a little bit. But lead us off, Ryan. 3 words or less. Isaiah Rodgers gone.
Frickin' Ringo season. Let's go. They obviously love them some Keely Ringo. That's why they were perfectly okay. Well, listen, you may not love them, but the Eagles clearly do. Clearly they do, because that was an easy choice. They could have easily thrown up that money. It was not a lot to have Rodgers come back, and they could have absolutely matched that up. They decided not to. I'm sure we'll talk about another one later on. Clearly, they're okay with Ringo having first crack, unless there's some diabolical plan to bring in somebody else. But that makes no sense why you wouldn't give Rodgers that chance to take the role. So yeah, Ringo, baby, let's do it.
Rob,
no starting guarantee. That's why Isaiah Rodgers is not here. The Eagles were not going to pay multi-years to a guy that they were going to have in a competition with Keely Ringo, which is the plan all along. Okay, the plan is for Keely, as Ryan said, to get a first crack, but there's got to be a competition. So don't think that they won't be bringing a veteran will come here on a 1-year deal. They will sign a veteran maybe in the second wave of free agency to compete. I know that one name that got thrown out there and people jumped on it as hating it, but I'm just going to say a type. This type, a Ronald Darby type, not Ronald Darby himself, but like a veteran like that you could get on a 1-year prove-it deal to compete with Keely Ringo is still going to happen. I just think they wanted Isaiah Rodgers probably on a 1-year deal. He got 2 years and an opportunity to go start in Minnesota. That's all that happened there. It sucks. I kind of wanted him back, but I get it.
I'm right there with you, Rob. I'm not anti-Keely Ringo. I don't. It's more so about him and his fit with the Vic Fangio scheme. He's a press corner. That's what he does best. And I don't know if he has that twitch of like a Quignon to be a great fit. And we saw all last year. Why wasn't Keely Ringo backing up Darius Slay? It was Isaiah Rodgers. Bruce says, would you be mad do you feel Jalen will be mad that he's underpaid? I mean, that's kind of the theme that how he's keeping everything in-house and making sure everyone in-house is getting taken care of. So could we see a Hurts extension at some point?
Yeah, why not?
Next year.
It may not happen this year, but probably next year.
I think it gets talked about next year.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely.
I don't think Vic likes Rodgers' frame. Expect Keely Ringo time. We've got a lot of Ringo fans.
That's right.
Listen, I hope it works out. I'm not saying that, and I'm fine with him getting a crack at it, but I don't think you can just hand him the job. I think there has to be competition in training camp for it.
What is Josh going to do? Maybe he can afford a haircut. Our CB2 next year has a cheerleader name. Jesus, take the wheel. Ringo's up. Still have Ricks. Imagine not liking Ringo, 6'2". Fair. We'll see. I just need to see it. Great special teamer. Don't get me wrong. Keely season, Ringo season is here.
Right, baby.
Wow, I didn't realize we had such a huge Ringo.
It's the same
Party.
guy. It's just the same guy saying it to everybody. It's Bumper.
Michael, when we get to Eagles free agency targets, Asante Samuel Jr. will be one of them. We'll get there in a minute. We will draft a corner. Maybe they go and get Benjamin Morrison,
Listen, can we
Harrison.
We've got to have a conversation, guys. We've got to have a conversation. Okay? Every answer to every question is, well, we're just going to draft a guy. Now, the Eagles, I'm not even paying attention. The Eagles have had some good drafts recently, correct? But what do we know about the draft for everyone? You don't hit on every pick. They're due for a bad pick at some point here, guys.
Howie's been on a heater.
Yes, he's absolutely been on a heater, but nobody stays on a heater. They need a couple veterans, which they will get. Stop telling me we're drafting everybody. You two started this. I blame you two. You two. Sorry, I'm done.
Rob looks like a ball boy.
I kind of this shirt's super nice, so the hell with you, Marshall.
I'm getting some like Kevin James vibes. I don't know about you, Ryan.
I get it. I see it. That's it.
That's a
Michael says.
That's it. I'm going up here to just my head. So
we'll draft a corner. Sante. Absolutely.
Freaking axe.
Yeah, not a perfect player. Rob, you want to sign 35-year-olds?
Yeah, I do want to sign a couple.
Please.
I was just about to say.
All right, Marina Sands, one of our top commenter on all my draft videos. Awesome comments.
Yes.
Our draft has changed immensely. Corner and linebacker are in play. Need a free agency corner to play outside. Draft one to back up Coop. We have a great linebacker on the roster and not a decent one to start. Let's wrap this up really quick. Last but not least, Oren Burks to the Bengals on a 2-year, $2.5 million, Rob. I was really upset about this one, dude. Like, the Eagles clearly didn't want to bring him back, or it was one of those, like, he wanted more assurance with the 2 years. What was your reaction?
I'll go Axeman cometh, because obviously by doing this, you're telling me you're ready to let Trot Jr. Become the guy there. This was honestly, I'll be honest, this was my biggest surprise. Eagles news today was Oren Burks not coming back. I thought that was just a guarantee because you don't know if Nakobe's going to be able to start the season. Yet know what Oren Burks can do for you. But they went another way. And, I guess that means it's Trot time. That's fine. Axeman, it's 3 words or less. 3 words or less. Just to let you know. 3 words or less. I follow rules. I don't cheat, Mr. Pittsburgh.
Michael, last week we did a 3-round mock for the Birds. We'll probably do one next week, I'm sure. But
you guys caught me after a nap. I got a lot of energy today.
I love it.
We're not doing mocks tonight. We're already off track.
Oh yeah, no mocks tonight. What up? What up, Antonio?
We're on Antonio. Yep. Respect. What's up, Ryan? What was your reaction to Oren Burks?
Makes no sense. Like, this one was should have been such an easy call. It's 2 years, $5 million. I mean, come on, Howie. Like, again, either there had to have been something, because that makes 0 sense why they wouldn't have given them the money, considering they know that they have no one starting opposite of Bond right now. Technically, it is Trot. And believe me, I love me some Trot Jr., but I don't think he's ready for that role right now. We need to bring in somebody, and Marina brought it up great. Linebacker is absolutely in play, and it needs to be. I think Burks would have been a nice stopgap had you maybe drafted a guy in the second or third round that might need a little time to kind of get acclimated. Burks could have been that dude to kind of bridge the gap, and it sucks. I would have done it.
Yep. Eagles Dynasty says Howie also uses picks to move around the draft board. He's got 4 5th rounders, and he'll get a 3rd rounder for Milton. a 4th rounder for Sweat,
Yeah.
and a 6th rounder for Isaiah Rodgers. And I imagine we're all awaiting the Mekhi Becton news. It sounds like he wants to stay, but the money's going to be so much more elsewhere at this point, as we
I gotta
know.
tell you though, the longer this goes on, the more likely I think that is that he's staying.
Yeah.
The longer that this thing stretches out. Now, I'll say that, and within an hour he'll sign with another team, and I'll just be like, "Oh, there goes another one." But
good job, Rob.
Shut up, you.
Palmer, Howie knows he can't just run it back. This isn't the Phillies. We'll be fine. They have 8 draft picks. They really just truly need to add depth in some key spots.
Yes. That's what I mean. I don't attack the draft saying you can't draft. My point of that is saying we can't just count on Howie to hit on every pick. You know how the draft works along the league. You don't just stay in a hot shot.
I mean, Rob, you're absolutely right. I mean, Milton Williams was a 3rd round pick that took a few years to develop.
Yeah.
Josh Sweat was what? He was a fourth round, right?
3rd or 4th.
Fourth, I think. But either way, took a few years to fully develop. And again, we're going to try and replace that in the draft. It's a little bit hard, so we're going to have to use higher picks to speed up that process necessarily. So if we're going to go ahead and get an edge and an interior guy 1st, 2nd round, that's great. But again, there's still going to be a drop-off because they are still rookies. They are still learning. We're going to have to bring in some veterans here regardless to help bridge the gap from the young kids that we're going to be bringing in to maintain this number 1 defense, if we're going to do that.
And there's one guy that I know we're going to talk about because I know he's on the list that I think is going to be an ideal fit from a free agent standpoint. Look, that was the other thing. A couple of guys we wanted went pretty quickly. Some didn't even make it to free agency in terms of Khalil Mack. That one was the one that really hurt my soul this morning.
Yeah. Yep. Michael says, how much would you keep Becton for? Probably around like 10, 11 million. He's probably going to get like 14, 15, I would imagine.
Yeah.
On the open market. Pumpman says, I don't want Becton. I'm not paying 15 million. I totally understand. Totally understand.
The Eagles won't pay him 15 million.
No, I don't think so either. DJ, Mr. Sandman says everyone writing off Dean like his career is over.
No,
we just don't know when he's coming back.
Listen, and Marina's right here. He's probably not coming back till past the halfway point of the season. And listen, the injuries that he suffered, it's not an easy comeback. There's a lot of players that have had it. The percentage of players that have come back the same or close to it are in this small minority. So not saying his career is certainly over, because Dabs, I know you're right there with me, man. When this kid got drafted, he was just like that player that you just absolutely rooted for, and he finally had his season. So I'm rooting for this to be the exception, 100%. I need this to be the exception.
Becton could bet on himself, sign a 3-year in Philly, take over Lane in a year. I don't like him going to. He's right. He's found his home, man.
Yeah.
Would you guys bring in Joey? But I am not on the Joey Bosa train. I don't think he fits. Personally,
I don't think he fits the locker room. I think he's his demeanor, his attitude, I don't think fits with this locker room at all.
Yep. Herb Becton was always injured with the Jets. Absolutely. Yep. Javon Holland is still out there for sure. Former Bama first round. All right, let's roll on to our next segment. Any other comments before we get to, should we move Dallas Goedert or not? That is our next segment here. The pros on this one, we all know Dallas Goedert is borderline elite when he's healthy. He led the team in the playoffs this postseason. He's a fantastic blocker. When you look at the available options in free agency, there's not a lot of great options for them. The cons, the Eagles could save nearly $16 million in cap space over 3 seasons if they trade him, and you're probably looking at a 3rd or 4th round pick. Start off with you, Rob. Do you move Dallas Goedert?
I'm at a point where I move him if you have a plan. if you know what you're going to do. I don't move him just to move him because there's no one there. Now, if you already are working the back channels to get another guy via trade or whatever it might be, then fine. If you're going to go out there and trade a day 3 pick for a Michael Mayer out in Vegas or something like that, okay. But I can't move him just to move him when you don't have another option there. And I can't move him with the idea that, well, we'll just draft the option, because here's what we've done with tight ends for like 30 years. It was Chad Lewis to LJ Smith to Brent Selleck to Zach Ertz to Dallas Goedert. And you always drafted the guy a year or two before getting rid of the tight end to let him build and develop underneath of him. They didn't do that here. So you better have a plan in place if you're going to move on from Goedert, is where I stand on this. What
about you, Ryan?
Yeah, listen, I got to agree with Rob. I get it, and honestly, it's been all day. There's been a super war going on my Twitter or X. I posted something about why the heck are we entertaining this, and I bring it from the fact of, like, again, as Rob said, if you have a plan, that's great, but right now, obviously, you trade away Dallas Goedert, you're left with Grant Calcaterra. Like, listen, no offense, but I don't want him being anywhere close to being. I don't even want him being our number 2, much less our number 1. So again, there better be a damn plan in place. Again, as Rob said, Mayer is certainly a younger option that's under Brock Bowers. Certainly could be had, but I don't buy this whole, we could save $15.5 million over 3 years. That's nice, but what are we going to do besides that? I get it. You could say he's always hurt, and blah 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 blah. And listen, I have been very critical of Dallas Goedert over the last couple of years, mostly because of the injury, and availability is the best ability in my opinion. But man, when he is out on that field, Dive said it best. He is borderline elite. He is right there. And I get it. He's on the wrong side of, the age bracket there. But unless there is a solid plan in place, I don't want to move backwards from a position that I already want to improve. And drafting a guy, whether it's first, second, or third round, isn't going to do anything to improve that if you're trading him away. There needs to be a better plan. And I do trust Howie to get a job done, but don't be trading Dallas Goedert for a 5th round pick and not do a damn thing and have Grant Calcaterra sitting there getting his doors blown off when he's trying to block somebody and comes in and hurts our quarterback. Let's not do that.
Yeah, I am pretty anti, move on from Dallas Goedert. I would much rather just ride it out for one more year and then figure it out after next season. There's not a lot of great options out there, as I mentioned. If they don't land Tyler Warren or Colson Loveland, who will be first-round picks, Harold Fannin Jr., Elijah Arroyo, Mason Taylor, Gunnar Helm. I like those guys.
Yeah.
But they're still a roll of the dice, and they're not Dallas Goedert's, and they're more so tight end 2s year 1, and then maybe tight end 1s for some of them down the road. But I don't like it. I'd rather just say, hey, maybe come to an agreement and figure something out. But I would much rather keep Dallas Goedert. I don't see a better option. All right. We have some comments. Pump Man wants to move on to Johnny Wilson at tight end. Absolutely not. Goedert has been underutilized when healthy. Eagles dynasty, that's a great comment. I think we could use him more. The amount of snaps versus how many targets he gets, you're right on it. If Ringo and Trotter are starters next year, our defense is drastically weaker. Maybe, but where were we at this time last year?
Right. We were in no man's land. We had no idea what the hell we had with 5 different people, and again, turned out. Michael
likes Elijah Arroyo. I do too. Anthony, welcome. Thanks for joining. Calcaterra blocked all year. That's why sick. What?
A what?
Calcaterra is
What?
He's a terrible blocker.
Well, he's
Yeah.
a horrible blocker.
Yeah.
I could pull up in 3 seconds. His like top 10 worst blocking fails because there's so damn many of them.
Yeah, Calcaterra. The Eagles were
how do you really
significantly
feel, Rob?
better. The Eagles are a significantly better team with Calcaterra
Off the field.
off the field and run blocking situation. I mean, it's very obvious. Ojomo replaces Williams. We need to replace Ojomo's snaps, which we will get to. And let's roll on. All right, so we're pretty much anti-trade Dallas Goedert. I think we can all agree to that. Moving on, let's get to our breakout stars of 2025. Who wants to go first? Going once.
Listen, I'll go since Rob wants to, save the worst for last.
Please.
Listen, it's even more evident with how today went that Keely Ringo is the breakout star for 2025. He is absolutely gonna get the first crack here. It seems for CB2. I think it's well deserved. I think he has been an absolute stud for the special teams, and when called upon, again, I think his pedigree coming out of Georgia, he has been right there. Yes, he may not be the exact fit, but I think with how he would play with Q, with Coop, I think Keely would work just fine. It's absolutely got to be Ringo season here, baby. We need him to be the guy who steps up this year in order to keep this defense a top 10 defense. It's Ringo all the way.
Ryan is going Ringo. Ringo looks like I'll go next. I'm going to go my man Jalix Hunt, 25 years old, played all 17 regular season games last year, only 1.5 sacks and 7 pressures, but absolutely delivered on the biggest stage during the Eagles postseason, played 30% of the snaps in the playoffs. He had a sack, 5 quarterback pressures, 2 QB hits, 7 total tackles. Just has those elite measurables that you love in a Vic Fangio system, man. 6'4", 250 plus. We all know his raw athletic score. It was like a 9.22 out of 10. It's funny how suddenly the Jalix Hunt mold has now become like what I think of as an edge rusher for the Eagles. And it's funny in relation to our reaction when they drafted him in the 3rd round last year. But this guy's transition to being a football player is wild, man. He was a safety, then he became an edge rusher at Houston Christian just a few years ago. And he's a guy that can create mismatches with his versatility. He's a guy that can rush the passer, drop into coverage, just checks off a lot of boxes. Big and fluid in coverage, disruptive playmaker. He has all the measurables. And I think the biggest growth for him this offseason is just becoming a more consistent pass rusher. I think he's already a guy that can set an edge and be a great run defender. But I just want to see a little more of a pass rush repertoire. I want to see him become more of a chaos bringer in that backfield. That's my expectations for Jalix Hunt. Rob, who's your guy?
Look, Jalen Carter is going to be double and triple team, so that second defensive tackle is huge, and it's got to be Mora Joma. This kid has come on. He was my player to watch going into the year. I think he got better and better as the year went on. He made a lot of plays in the playoffs. I think I read somewhere he had one of the top win rates from that D tackle position. This kid has the it factor, man. I love the way he plays. He reminds me of a Milton Williams in the way that his career trajectory has taken, right? You didn't hear too much from him early, and then he's gradually worked his way up, and I thought played a really nice role playing more snaps than Jordan Davis as the season went on, and the fact that Jalen Carter never came off the field. I think that Mora Joma is the guy here, and I think he's going to flourish next to Carter. And, I don't understand, that this is why I was never paying Milton Williams. Like, this is the one position where you truly have the right backup in place to step right into the role that Million Williams is leaving. So, Mora Joma, it's time, baby. You're the guy this year. You're the breakout guy.
All right.
Uh,
Sticking with the defense, let's get some comments quick before we get into free agency targets. Jordan Davis, that's a really good one. We'll see what they do. I expect the Eagles to really emphasize depth in the draft, and that's the strength. That's a position of strength in the draft. But we'll see. Maybe we'll see more snaps. I think it's fair to say, guys, do you want to see less snaps from Jalen Carter next year? I think it would be a really good idea to maybe see his snap percentage go down just a little bit. Jalen Carter was playing like 100% of the snaps, like pretty much the 3/4 of the season, which I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, to a certain extent, yes. But I just think this guy is a freak athlete where that stuff doesn't bother him.
Okay.
You know, I look, there are going to be times where, yeah, you want to probably get him off the field. But like you said, you're going to need the depth to be able to do that. You're going to need to be able to trust that you can have Jordan Davis in there with Mora Jomo or whoever else you bring in to play that position. I don't know. I just don't know if you have that at this point. But I think if you can, 98% of the snaps week in and week out is a ton.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to preserve him a little bit, especially considering we're probably going to be giving him a insanely large contract in the near future.
Kevin Petula as the breakout star.
Dude, I saw this. I was like, this is a Dives answer if I've ever seen it.
Very few tight ends in this draft that can block. Absolutely. Ferguson's the best fit. I like Gunnar Helm. He can block as well. I think I was way more excited about the tight end class I was like a month ago than I am now. I think the combine really kind of supported that. Is there a way you could trade Huff? Probably not. You're going to have to try and squeeze every ounce of upside out of him as possible.
I would James Bradbury his ass. Give up a fake injury in training camp and leave his ass out there.
Yeah, that's what it is. Moro Jomo has been a favorite of his since draft night. Royo is a blocking tight end. No, he's not. Ojomo doesn't play the run. Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he was drafted out of Michigan as a great run defender. Yeah, I disagree with that. I think the shock was how good he looks in his pass rush. That was the surprising part of Moro Jomo.
Yeah, still no need to insult the other people.
Yeah,
you can make your point without
make your point
that.
without insulting.
Yeah,
leave the insulting to us.
Exactly. Yeah, let us insult each other here, and also, people insulting Rob.
All right, let's get into this thing. We're going to get into our free agency targets, those slow 40s. Yeah, whatever. All right,
you just have the Bengals B in there?
No, that's my Canva. Yeah, those are my latest uploads. All right, let's roll on to free agency targets. We're going to go to S to E tier. S being like the best of the best. And then E being
crabby.
Well, I guess the way we'll do this, we'll go from S to A to B and so forth.
Sure.
Does anybody have any S tiers right now regarding the remaining free agency targets?
I gotta look at I'm terrible at faces. I'm gonna go off the one name that I just think fits the Eagles, and that's Draymond Jones from Seattle. He's a guy that I think has played a little bit inside and outside along the defensive line. He seems like a nice fit. He's played, he's played in all the positions that Fangio would probably want to put him. He doesn't, for those that care about this stuff, I don't, but I know a lot of people do. He would not count against the comp pick formula because he was a release. He was not an unrestricted free agent. That's the type of move I think you need along that line. I think you need that veteran in there. And I think a guy like Draymond Jones, who was it that he was he drafted by Fangio? I think he's got a familiarity with Fangio at some point in his career. I think he's the perfect guy, as far as that veteran that you're going to sign here in free agency.
Yeah, Draymond Jones, 6'4", 28 years old. He played all 17 games last year for the Seahawks, 4 sacks, only played 55% of the defensive plays, 6.5 sacks back in 2022 and 2023. Love the durability. It will probably be more of a defensive tackle, I think, in this scheme. But anyway, that's Draymond Jones. I don't know about S tier.
I don't think I personally can't put a single person into S tier after the flurry of names went off the board. So
yeah, I think like S
tier.
But
if we're looking at S tier for the Eagles, like we're not saying that they are an S tier free agent.
Oh no. I'm understanding, Rob. Thank you. I don't think there's an S tier remaining.
Oh, there's absolute S tier fits.
I don't think so.
I think Azeez Ojulari is another one.
I'm the one who brought up Azeez weeks ago.
Well, then stand on it.
He's still not an S tier though. It's an A tier. That's an A tier to me. There's no S. S is gone out the door. Everybody went in 2 seconds. How he sat there because he had to.
They were the top free agents for the whole league. Not necessarily for the Eagles.
I understand that.
You sound like one of these dopes on Twitter right now.
Oh, well, don't you dare insult me like that. I will not be called a Twitter dope.
All right, where are we putting Azeez Ojulari? Hey. Wait. So hold on. We need to come to a consensus with Draymond Jones. All right, Ryan, where are you with Draymond Jones?
A.
I'm with you on A. So sorry, Rob.
You guys suck. That's what I meant.
That's why we can't see you.
Let's move on to Azeez Ojulari. He's 24 years old. Has some upside. He's got a lot of versatility. He's a guy that is a stand-up edge rusher. Could fit that 3-4 system pretty well, I think, and has been just up and down in his career there. It's also important to note he's got a history of injuries. But Rob, are you banking on the upside, Azeez Ojulari?
I mean, I would. Yeah, I mean, if the Eagles are signing a 24-year-old guy, I think that they're telling you they're banking on the upside. They're not going to do it for a guy that they don't believe is going to be a player for them for multiple years. So that is why when I say S tier, that is the reason behind it. Because you're not going to sign a young dude like this if you're the Eagles unless you plan on him being in the fold for quite a few years and playing at a high level.
So you're putting him at an S tier. What about you, Ryan?
Wild. It's absolutely wild.
Because Ryan agrees, and he's just not going to admit it.
No, I'm keeping him at an A. I don't think right now you can consider anybody an S tier for the Eagles. I just feel strongly on it.
I'm more of a B. I'll just put him at an A, I guess.
I mean, I guess in the middle is A, right? Because we have an S, an A, and a B. Yeah. So he's got to be an A, right?
So as always, Ryan is in the middle because he doesn't know how to actually win.
No. Yeah. No.
Anyway.
No. Listen. Don't get all butthurt. Don't get all butthurt because I'm right for both free agents so far.
I got a new S tier. If you want a fullback on this team, Kyle Juszczyk has just been released by the 49ers. You want a fullback? There's your fullback. Bring him in.
Yeah. See, my point has been proven by that comment right there.
Has Trey Hendrickson signed yet? No, I don't believe so.
He's a trade. He's a trade. He's not. Yeah. He's not a free agent.
Marina says we still have Booker at defensive. I like Thomas Booker. I think he's solid, man.
I think those are very good backups to
John. And Gabe Hall is going to be a fun one to watch this offseason for sure. Has a long way to go, but man, a lot of tools. Sounds like a bunch of old ladies at Tuesday Night Bingo. Niners defense is completely decimated today for sure. Let's get to our next one. Let's roll Calais Campbell. How's that sound? Obviously huge mammoth. 38 years old, defensive lineman. Yeah. In 2024, he had 5 sacks, played 58% of the defensive snaps, He can play inside. He can play outside. He only signed a 1-year, $2 million deal in 2024. Probably could, give the Eagles the similar contract, but he's got experience. He's got versatility. He's got leadership that could be valuable for the Eagles' young guys on that D-line. Rob, Calais Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be an average just because of how old he is. Obviously all the positives you said are true, but he's an older guy. I mean, I look at this as would be a signing I'm not mad at. I'm not thrilled about. I put in the C range because I think that's kind of where it is. It would be an okay signing, but nothing that I'm like jumping for joy and running around for.
All right.
Is that okay, Ryan?
Where are you at, Ryan?
I'd just like to bring up this comment.
No,
Yeah.
he's 38. We just said it.
Pretty sure he's older than me. He lied. He lied on his birth certificate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen. I mean, as nice as doesn't really do much for me. I get it. He's a nice name, but yeah, exactly, Pat. I'm like, damn, this dude's older than freaking dirt. I put him in the C, I guess.
Rob, where were you?
C.
Yeah, I guess.
Fine.
I mean, D. I'd go with D too. If you
I'm good with D. I like that. My figure, like I want youth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
I mean, I get it. We might need to bridge positions here and there, but like, Jesus, God, this guy's going to take 8 years to walk over that bridge.
Like, like he would be a fun mid-season pickup or something along those lines if he's available. But that's all right.
Like that time we brought in Sue and the other old guy,
Joseph.
There you go, Linval Joseph.
All right, moving him to D.
D.
All right. Anybody else have any others before I name another guy?
All right, just name whoever.
Let's go to Asante Samuel Jr., 25-year-old cornerback. According to NFL.com, he was the 24th best corner according to NFL.com, he was the 24th best free agent in this year's free agency class. He's a playmaker. He's steadily improved in the NFL. He's not a good tackler. He's not a good press corner, but he's not going to do that a lot in Philadelphia. Ryan, where would you tier rank Asante Samuel Jr.?
Probably a B. I just think you bring him in and instantly can compete with Keeley for CB2, and would certainly give some depth that was lost in free agency. Obviously we're losing 3 guys in Rogers, Slay, Avante. So yeah, I'd be okay with them bringing in somebody like Asante. He's still young. I think he can still play at a decent level. So I think he could come in and yeah, he could be the next CB2.
Rob?
Too many injuries. A major concern for me. I'd probably put him in the C range because of that. I also just fear somebody's going to pay him too much money, and I don't want it to be the Eagles that pay him too much money, especially if you're only bringing him in to compete with Keely Ringo. It's not, you're not bringing him in to be the starter. I would probably put him more in the C range at this point.
I'm with you, Rob. Let's put him C range.
All right, I'm all right with it. I get it. The injuries, yeah, it sucks because I obviously super high on him when he came out.
Yeah, loved him coming out.
Yeah, and he's played really well. It's just the injuries have gotten to him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Marshawn says, "Help me! I've fallen and I can't get up." Campbell's so old. He had ringside seats to the David and Goliath fight. Campbell still calls people cat and jive turkey.
That's a good one.
We don't need any free agent defensive tackles.
Yeah, I agree. Again, if you're gonna bring in a vet, okay, fine. But I agree with Marina that I think you should go and draft an early guy, whether it be second, third round.
How many sacks you think Campbell had last year?
He had 5.
Yeah. I mean, let's not act like the guy didn't have any production whatsoever. He had more than maybe 3 of our defensive tackles combined last year. So I'm just look, I'm all about the youth movement, but you have to have a mix of freaking veterans on the team, guys. You can't just have nothing but draft picks.
Yeah, you can't just have 23-year-olds running around. It'd be absolute chaos.
That's all I'm saying.
I like this comment from Antonio. Samuel Jr. can't tackle in this defense. You have to. I think that's like the one thing I loved about last year's defense was how physical they were and how in unison they were. And I don't know if Asante Samuel Jr. has that in his bag. I don't know. He was always the first Avenger.
Well played.
Nice. That was a good one.
And Steven, I agree. Draft young, get hungry. I absolutely agree.
I like that. He's a different kind of hungry. Like he's hungry for an actual meal, whereas it's 5 o'clock. He's ready for dinner.
All right, let's roll on. Let's go to a guy that we already know a lot about, Rasul Douglas. Cornerback Rasul Douglas is out there. Originally drafted by the Birds in 2017. He's played with the Packers, the Bills, kind of a journeyman, kind of a rotational guy. Didn't have a good 2024, but he's got some familiarity with the Eagles culture, would be a smooth reintegration. A lot of inconsistent play. He's not the youngest. He's not a burner. Rob, where are you at with Rasul Douglas?
He's kind of the guy I think about when you say bringing in a guy on a 1-year deal just to compete. And if he loses out, it's like a low risk, high reward. You bring him in for a low amount of money. And if he does well, great. If not, it's Keely Ringo's job. And that's what everybody wants anyway. I don't know. I'm probably in the C range again with him. I probably would rather him than Asante Samuel, because I know Rasul Douglas will tackle. I don't know that Asante Samuel will tackle. But, I just think it's listen, just because you guys, nobody thinks logically. It's like, I just hear a name and I just have my opinion and that's it. It's jackassery. It's ridiculous the way some of you are thinking. It really is. It's stupid. But regardless, I'm putting him in the C range with Asante Samuel.
C range for Rob. I actually like that thought process. I would rather have Rasul than Asante Samuel Jr.
Thank you, Dibes.
What about you, Ryan?
I can't say that. I just I have a bad taste in my mouth from Rasul. I'm going to put him in D.
See, and that's the problem. You have a bad taste from 10 years ago.
I mean, it wasn't 10 years ago. It was more like 5, 6, whatever the hell he left. Yeah, Samuel and Antonio and Marshawn.
All right, let's roll on to our next one. Let's go interior offensive line. Let's go Tevin Jenkins, 25-year-old interior offensive lineman from the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Last year, he committed 4 penalties. He allowed 4 sacks. Not great, 109th percentile among guards. But he's got a lot of durability. He's got some versatility as well. Any interest in Tevin Jenkins to kind of fill in that right guard spot?
Well, I think all this circles around Mekhi Becton, right? What happens with Mekhi Becton? If you don't get Becton, you're going to – same thing we've been talking around in the corner. I don't want to just hand the job over to Tyler Steen. I want a competition there. I think it's important to have a competition there. Tyler Steen was the guy who had the front runner going into the season last year, and he lost the job, which tells me you still need competition there. I probably, when it comes to any offensive lineman, I'm always going to be teetering in that BC range because I just don't – it's not going to thrill me, but I'm also going to say, okay, I get it.
Steven's killing me about my Ringo take. Quinion is a much better athlete than Keely Ringo.
Jesus Christ. Sorry. Chase
what?
Young just got $51 million over 3 years with the Saints.
Man, what
They're
a market.
just paying stupid ass money for
See,
people.
like that would be a name that I wouldn't have minded coming here on I don't know, a normal person freaking deal,
100%.
not a freaking
not 13.5 million a year.
Right, that's insane.
That's out of control.
Ringo is a good he's a very good athlete, but not great hips. That's the thing. It's not as fluid as Q. But anyway, Williams says would love to have Becton back.
Yeah.
Steen's going to start. I agree. We need Becton back. We'll see. It's just a matter of whether or not he accepts like $4 million a year less than the offers out there. So we'll see. Tevin Jenkins, where are you at, Ryan?
I'm going to go B. I think if we kind of missed out on Becton, I think he's a really good replacement, honestly. He's what, 26, 27?
Yeah.
25. Still young, still has some years left. He didn't, start his career the greatest, but I think the last couple of years he's kind of coming around, and I think, you get in front of the best offensive line and the best offensive line coach. I think he could get to that even, next year. So to speak. I think that'd be a great, again, if you're going to transition from Becton. I'm not a huge Steen guy. I don't want to just give the job to Steen. So,
yeah, I agree. Send Big Dom and Stout to Becton's house and close the deal.
Seriously, right?
I just picture Stout in a room with everybody, just literally pounding the table. Sign him. I just picture Stout losing.
Don't let him out of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we said in previous shows, like the only times like he kind of got lost were those like miscommunications and things like that in pass pro.
But again, this is his, Becton's first year playing guard. And I could only think under the coaching with the offensive line surrounding him that it's only going to get better for Becton. That's why I want him back personally.
Yeah.
And again, it gives you options for the following year. If that truly is Lane's last year, you can go out and get a guard to replace Becton, slide Becton out, or keep Becton where he is, get the next right tackle. Again, you give yourselves that flexibility that Howie absolutely loves.
Plumman says Steen was horrible on PFF. I mean, it's been a rough year for PFF. I think we can all agree.
It's been a rough decade. I'm sorry. I can't stand it. That site is so all over the place all the time. And like you said, this year was terrible.
The only thing that website's good for is their mock draft simulator.
Yeah.
And even that is the rankings of that is a little iffy. But I also they also do like live updates with like pressures and things like that. That I don't know where else to get that from. But their pass rush grades and run defense grade, take it for what it's worth. Cowboys signed Javonte Williams from Denver.
Yeah, I would have loved him to come here and be the backup.
Another great.
Again, I look at the Cowboys, and I don't know what their plan is.
Yeah,
I can't. They're I don't see a plan. I just see them signing just to sign people. You had a better Javonte Williams in the building in Rico Dowdle, didn't you? Because if you take Javonte Williams' injuries and not being able to stay healthy and all that stuff, I don't know. It's just none of it makes sense to me.
Yeah. Eagles Dynasty says another great news. Washington has joined the list of teams overpaying for free agents and trading away draft picks.
What they gave Javon Kinlaw was ridiculous.
I saw that.
When they had Jonathan Allen in the building.
I know.
And then
so dumb.
Yeah.
Laramie Tunsil's a good player. I know he had a rough year last year, but they did give up, a second, third, and a fourth. Not in the same year, but just a second, third, and a fourth round pick.
Daniel would love Gray Zabel. Big fan of Zabel. The Eagles could do a lot worse in the first round or second round if he's there.
For sure.
Elite versatility, 6'6", can play anywhere on that O-line. Steen starting, Ringo starting, Bryce Huff starting next year. That's interesting.
I can guarantee you Huff is not a starter next year.
Looks like Najee Harris to the Chargers, 1 year, $9.25 million.
Yeah.
Remember when like top
Guys are
free
just
agent running
making-
backs were getting like $5 million, $6 million?
I love this comment. Josh
I
Harris
didn't
will
hear that
run
at all.
Washington into the ground just like the Sixers. All right. Let's roll on to we lost Rob.
Bye, Rob.
Let's go on to Brandon Scherf, our next guy, another interior offensive lineman.
There you go. Rob's back.
He's back.
So. Maybe.
Maybe.
Loading. It's
We're
loading.
loaded.
It's loading.
We'll let his load.
Yeah, we'll let his ass load.
Brandon Scherf, he's 33 years old, right guard from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Played a lot last year, over 1,000 snaps, 98% of the Jaguars' offensive plays, committed just 2 penalties. He's a reliable pass protector. He's durable. Again, he's old, like 33.
Yeah.
Maybe he comes to the Birds on that like 1-year prove it deal and kind of fills in that Mekhi Becton role. Any thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, listen, I think, obviously there are some people in the chat that are big Steen fans, and that's fine. I'm just not one of them, and that's okay too. But I think if you are still investing in Steen, I think, but if you don't think he's ready, or you think the drop off might be a little too much, I think this would be a great addition for a 1-year deal to kind of again add a little veteran whatever to the room, and not that they need it, but more veterans always help for sure. So yeah, I'd be okay with that. I'd say that's another B tier for me.
Yeah,
because again, I think for me anyway, the Eagles will tell you how they feel about a certain player by how much they are interested in other people at that position. So if they start looking at other guards, and if Becton's kind of out of the picture, that shows you maybe they think that Steen just isn't ready yet. But if Becton goes ahead and signs somewhere else and they don't even start looking, then yeah, obviously then Steen is the guy. But again, I just don't know if he's ready.
Rob.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Ryan. I think it's a B. I think it would be a good competition for Steen if you don't get Becton. I see the question from our very happy friend Steven as why did we draft Steen? It doesn't work that way. Yeah, you drafted him in the hopes that he would become the right guard. But if you don't think he's ready, then you don't think he's ready. And guess what? I'm going to take Jeff Stoutland's opinion over anybody else. So if he says we need competition to see if Steen can play that position all season long, then guess what? I'm listening to Jeff Stoutland. Right. He said it last year, and Steen lost the job to Becton. So that to me tells me that they're not 100% sold that Steen is ready to just take that job and have it handed to him. So that's why I think signing someone to compete is very, very important.
Competition is always better. And you literally, Steen got beat out by a guy who's never played the position before.
He was getting beat out before that sprained ankle, Steven.
Yeah.
And everybody said it. He was getting beat out before the sprained ankle.
I don't agree that he was the starter either. I just don't. And regardless, if it was too close to call, then why didn't they,
Yes, Steven, Stoutland does coach Steen.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to start him.
And that's perfectly fine, Steven. We can all agree.
Yeah.
And go about our way, but again, and we respect that you have that opinion.
Don't turn me into the heel. Don't turn me into the heel, Steven.
Yeah. Don't turn him into John Cena. Hey,
I'm up Trayvon Walker
wrestling.
Yeah.
Trayvon Walker is not. What would that asking price be for Trayvon Walker?
It would probably be
you're giving up 32.
Yeah, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah, he's not worth that now.
Nah.
What would you? I'm curious your guys' feelings on Trey Hendrickson.
Again, Rob, I understand that you're just trying.
No. I'm asking because the guy had how many sacks last year?
I mean, he's had the most sacks, second most sacks over the last 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah,
or the most.
I'm just saying, what do you think? And a realistic asking, because what Cincinnati's doing to him is effed up.
Yeah,
like they're signing everyone, and here's the best defensive player you have, and you're just like, just go seek a trade. Like, I'm curious what people thinks it will cost.
I think
to get him.
Personally, I think the conversation should start at two number ones, but I don't necessarily.
I think like
I
think realistically it's probably like a second round and like a future like fourth or something like that.
Wow, really?
I mean, I would do that.
I would do that.
I would
do that. I personally think, I don't know. If Cincinnati, how do you let a guy walk out the door for less than a first? I would think like a first and a fourth might do it, but
I still want to do this right. You got the Jalen Carter contracts coming up, and
I mean you're absolutely right. And somebody said it there. Somebody said it we have too much money.
There's so much the Eagles need to figure out. That's what Howie's doing. That's why we're talking about potentially trading Dallas Goedert to open up $16 million the next 3 years. Like, they're planning ahead, and the way to do that is nail it through the draft, keep getting younger, getting those like
intermittent guys.
We've been on such the heater with the draft, and just get guys on manageable.
But doesn't that make you think they have been on a heater? You're right.
Nah, Rob, don't think like that, buddy. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself.
That's the logical
way of thinking.
Don't think like that. It's the logical way of thinking.
Listen,
Super Bowl winners don't necessarily last 10 years.
I understand that. And it's only been 3 years, one. And two, this is how you ruin a heater, by talking about what's going to happen when he's not on a heater.
What you two guys have said is how much of a heater he's been on.
You're not a freaking heater.
You don't talk about it. You just said. Oh, my goodness gracious. I can't with you two.
All right, let's go on. Let's move on.
I love you, Rob.
Let's go. Linebacker, edge rusher, Matthew Judon, 32 years old.
According to the chat, we're not allowed to sign anyone near the age of 30. It's 24. 24 or bust. That's it.
That's it.
He's played for the Patriots, the Ravens, in 2024, the Falcons. His numbers are not great. No. But he's a stand-up edge rusher. He can complement what you need there. If you're looking at him he's got an injury history as well. He missed significant time due to a torn bicep in 2024. Matthew Judon, Ryan.
Listen, I think if this was 5 years ago, I'd be ecstatic. But a lot has happened in 5 years. He certainly is not the player he once was. There you go. There he is. I love how you were looking for it. Listen, I have to say this is probably C tier again. Maybe D even. It's not really appealing. And you know me, I love my linebackers. I just I don't know how he would even fit with Bond. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. So I'll say D just to say.
Wow.
CD is where I'm at, but not because he's over 30.
No, I mean,
there's got to be guys on the roster over 30.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because he's not very good anymore.
All right, let's move on. That's Matthew Judon. We touched on Draymond Jones. Let's go to tight end. We haven't talked to any tight ends so far. Evan Ingram, 29 years old, played 9 games last year, 47 receptions, 365 yards, nearly 8 yards per reception, just 1 touchdown. Had some hamstring injuries. returned, then had a torn labrum in week 14. Not a blocker per se, more of a guy that can be a flex tight end. What do you think about Evan Ingram, Rob?
Bingo night's better because no one complains about everything. Anyway.
Oh, I love this show.
I'd say I knew this show was going to drive me nuts because this fan base, when it gets to free agency, they just lose their goddamn minds. Anyway, Evan Ingram, he's a good pass catching tight end, but like you said, not going to give you much in the realm of blocking. Some injury. I mean, when he was healthy last year, he was probably one of the better receivers for Jacksonville. I don't know. See? Oh man, I just bingo, you sons of bitches.
We're going C for Evan Ingram.
C for Evan Ingram.
Guys, you absolutely need to cut that. What Russell said. Bingo, you sons of bitches. That needs to be somehow in the video.
That has to be a drop. That has to just be
intro
a drop.
and or a drop.
When the Eagles sign somebody I said they're going to sign, I want the drop to hit. Bingo, sons of bitches.
Oh, man, that's going to be great. I'm going to use it all the time.
What about you, Ryan?
What did you say, Rob?
I don't freaking know.
I love how we're like, oh, this is going to be a quick show. I'll go C. I don't, again, injury concerns. He certainly had a resurgence. I guess it was 2 years ago. At this point, again, a little injured last year, didn't do all that great. But again, how old is he?
Evan Ingram is 29.
Yeah, okay, so that's 30.
Forget it. Forget it. Don't even talk about it.
But again, like
as well, we have Lane Johnson. They got to release Lane Johnson, guys. Got to release him. Got to release Lane. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we already have Dallas Goedert. Like, unless we're like running 12 personnel and just running like super 12 personnel all the time.
I want Goedert. I want Goedert over Ingram. My whole thought is Ingram is if Goedert leaves and you need to replace him.
Right. That's I think why you put him in C, because I think if you're going to do that, you're probably going to go with somebody a little bit younger.
Yeah, definitely not.
And then draft somebody and call that your tight end moving forward.
Let's go to interior offensive line. Larry Borum, guy that I
just signed.
Did he really?
He literally signed about 10 minutes ago with the Dolphins.
Take him off the list.
He's off the list. Where did he sign?
The Dolphins, I believe. Went to Miami.
Well, cross him off the list.
All right, let's move on.
Anybody?
He would have been interesting. He was like a buy low kind of guy, but
guys, whoa. Listen, I'm the biggest Nick Sirianni fan in the world. Sirianni did not tell Stoutland to try Becton at guard. That's not how that conversation went. It's just not. I love Nick Sirianni. That was a Stoutland call. That was an absolute Stoutland call. Come on,
Rob. I gotta disagree. I heard Stout saying that it was Sirianni who suggested it first.
Listen,
I don't know whether that's true. Again, it came from Stout. You never know. Could just be him pumping his coach up.
That's what I think happened.
That's a good soldier. I get it. But
thank you, Pat.
Yeah, who knows? Listen, regardless, we're not in the freaking room. So everybody who says this and says that, we don't ever know. Let's not argue about it.
All right. Last but not least, let's wrap this up. Juwan Johnson, tight end, 28 years old, from the Saints. He was a former wide receiver. He had 1,600 plus yards there for New Orleans. 18 touchdowns, way more than I thought he had. He's more of a flex move.
By the way, Marshawn, when you start reusing old jokes that you already used, it just means you suck. So you suck, Marshawn. You used that joke 2 weeks ago, bro. It don't have the second time back out, all right? I would not argue that. I hate Tommy Gunn. I think he's a weasel. I think he's a rat. Okay? The hell out of here with your nonsense tonight.
This show is absolutely
Get new
unreal.
material, bro.
Oh my God.
All right, Juwan Johnson. Where are we at with Juwan Johnson?
I like him better than
I
Ingram.
like it. Yeah, I do too.
He's younger. I think he's done fairly well considering the hot mess that was in New Orleans. I'd put him in B. I wouldn't mind him, especially again if even if Dallas Goedert is still here.
Bullshit. I hate that son of a. Never mind.
You don't like Paulie Walnuts?
No, he lost all his money because he was stupid. What the hell's the matter with you? You gotta freaking get bamboozled when it's not even your money. Sorry.
Oh God.
Can we finish the show? I'm a B2. I like or an A2. Oh, you put him in
I
A?
said B. Yeah.
Okay.
That was my fault.
I like him too. I feel like
I like
every
him
time
better
I
than
turned on the
Ingram.
red zone and the Saints were scoring a touchdown for whatever reason, it was Juwan Johnson.
It sure was.
All right, what did we learn from this? There's not a lot of options.
We learned that I hate everyone. That's what we learned.
Yeah, we should just automatically just put anybody who's over 30 in the E tier.
Yeah, they don't belong. They're eliminated.
No, yeah. In fact, just delete their pictures.
B2, you're more B9.
Okay, that was good.
That's a good one, Marshawn. You have.
That was good. He's back.
Hey,
back.
Yes, you've come back strong. That was a great comeback there. I'm proud of you, buddy. I'm proud of you.
Oh my God.
All right, we're wrapping it up.
Thank God.
Seriously.
Ryan, final thoughts, please.
I'm not coming back for 3 weeks. I'm taking a break.
My final thought is that we all before we got on here were like, oh yeah, this will be a quick show. Bing boom boom. We'll get in and out. Yeah, that was we're about a half an hour past that point.
Hit one into the night, baby.
There you go. But anyway, please make sure you guys are following the other two gentlemen on X.
Don't follow me.
Okay, don't follow Rob. If you would like to get into the Dallas Goedert debate, I'm getting updates on my phone left and right. I don't know, dude. People are just commenting wildly and fighting with each other in the comments. It's awesome. I'm so for it. But yeah, make sure you guys are subscribing to Party on Broad later on this week, aka tomorrow.
Quit.
We're gonna be on the Eagles Pin Pull Network. Make sure you subscribe to that as well for Birds of the Round Table and Armchair Scouts. And then Wednesday, Football Smack Talk Show. Other than that, appreciate everybody in the chat. That you guys are obviously what makes this show go. So appreciate it. And you know what? Thank you, Steven. You're a new guy to the chat. You're great. Just bust balls. The good way.
Absolutely. Rob, final thoughts, plugs.
I feel like Joe.
How's life in Kensington?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Joe Pesci in Goodfellas. What am I, funny like a clown? Is that why you need me here, Marshawn?
Byron Murphy, 3 years, $66 million to the Vikings. Sorry.
Who?
Byron Murphy, corner.
No, hey, catch me Philly_Madness. Catch me here. I'll be doing some edits the next day or two with a couple D2A episodes that we recorded yesterday. Getting them out there. We talked a little bit about the Phillies. Talked a little bit about what was the other one we talked about? Oh, the draft. So I can't remember. So stay tuned for them. I do have new business cards coming out. They're on their way. And I'll get you one, Marshawn. Just let me sell your house. All right.
I love how Rob bought 72 Super Bowl things, but still hasn't gotten his new business cards.
I don't pay for my business cards. I'm just waiting for them to come in.
You know, it's Monday night when like you finish up the show and my jaw is literally hurting.
Right? It's 100% every time.
Yeah. I just want to go watch Daredevil. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Oh, phenomenal so far.
See you guys.
Draft, tons of draft content on the channel. I'm already like working on so many different like little content. I'm working on underrated guys like day 1 and day 2 that I would love in Midnight Green for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm already prepping NBA draft content. It's not going to be a lot like I typically do, right? But it's going to be like just the main lottery guys if the Sixers do keep the pick.
You know, those goddamn Sixers have a lot of friggin' nerve. They sent out emails for season ticket renewal this week. Are you freaking kidding me? Read the room.
Oh,
Josh.
speaking of season tickets, the Eagles season tickets went way up. They even moved up parking. Parking is now $50 a game. Bastards. Freaking bastards.
Win and do it.
I mean, true. I mean, you're right. But still, when's enough's enough?
It's wild. It's wild. Yeah. So be on the lookout for that NBA draft, NFL draft content. I'm sure we'll be doing a lot of mock drafts and stuff in the near future. One last time, check out Birds of the Round Table at Eagles Pin Pool on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. We'll be talking more at NFL draft and Eagles there for sure. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. The comments were the best, as they always are. He is Ryan Reese.
Or the worst, depending
Or the
on
worst. Same thing.
He is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. That is Rob at Philly_Madness. I am Dives. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome.